What is going on, Trash Talkers? We're back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our predictions for Week 18 in the NFL. All that and much more coming your way right now! Hey Trash Talkers, over 85% of you are still not subscribed to the channel. Please be sure to hit that red subscribe button and turn on notifications, as it will help us create more daily content for you. Thank you and enjoy today's video. Alright Nick, here it is, the final week of the 2021-2022 NFL season. We have gone through some very turbulent rides all season long, a lot of highs, a lot of downs, and just a lot of crazy football that we've seen, but it's all led to this moment. This is week 18, and we have two games on Saturday, starting off with the Chiefs at the Broncos at 4:30. Nick, who do you got in this one?
Yeah, starting off with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. The Kansas City Chiefs may not be playing for the first seed anymore, but they're trying to hold on to that number 2, try to stay ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a bounce back week. They need to show that they are still ready to compete with everybody else in the playoffs. I'm taking the Chiefs in this one.
Next up, we see the Dallas Cowboys heading on over to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles locked into their playoff spot at number 7, but it's weird because the 6th seed still hasn't been situated. Nonetheless, there's still a lot to get done in the NFC. The Dallas Cowboys still need this victory. They need to show that they can still compete at a high level. Just when we thought that they were back in the defense and the offense and special teams all were firing on all cylinders, they just put up an absolute terrible game against the Arizona Cardinals. Did not look pretty at all. We need to see more from the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys in this one.
Next up in our first 1 o'clock game on Sunday, we have the Green Bay Packers taking on the Detroit Lions. And even though it's week 18, the Packers have the number 1 seed all to themselves. Aaron Rodgers is still playing, and that's all I need to know. The Green Bay Packers are going to easily take this one. Doesn't matter if Jared Goff is back. There's nothing this Lions team can do to get past their division rivals. The Green Bay Packers are the best team in football and will have a nice victory on Sunday.
Next up, we see the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars have won 8 straight against the Indianapolis Colts in Jacksonville, and they're going to not continue that streak. I think the Indianapolis Colts will be able to take care of business against Jacksonville in Jacksonville. They're going to be able to do everything that we expect them to do. Jonathan Taylor's probably going to run for a measly 500 yards and 17 touchdowns. Nothing crazy, obviously. But at the end of the day, the Colts are a much better team, and they are still fighting to make the playoffs. They have not secured a spot, and this is the final game of the season. They have to put their best foot forward. Otherwise, it could open the door for the Chargers and Raiders to get in.
Next up, we have the Washington football team taking on the New York Giants. Not a very desirable matchup, but the Giants are looking to get a big victory going into the offseason. Joe Judge had quite hell of a rant at that post-game press conference, and it looks like that's going to be enough to fire the Giants up. I'm on their side. I believe that they're going to do this one for Joe Judge for their own pride, and the Giants will get one out over their division rival. I'm taking the Giants over Washington.
Next up, we see the Chicago Bears taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings put up as best a game as they could with no Kirk Cousins, no Adam Thielen. It was just a struggle going against the number 1 team in football. Now they're taking on the Chicago Bears. It looks like they'll have Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen back for this game. So Minnesota fans, get ready, because this is the game of your life. You need to do everything in your power to win this game. I know you have been eliminated from the playoffs, but as of right now, you need to show and prove why you want to keep Mike Zimmer as your head coach. You need to fight for jobs at this point, and right now, everybody is on the chopping block. I think everybody needs to play their best game. I think the Vikings win.
Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans taking on the Houston Texans, and this is a must-win for the Tennessee Titans. They need to hold on to that number 1 seed, make sure they get a bye week. They need to make sure that they have Julio and AJ and Derrick Henry all healthy for the playoffs. That way it gives them the best shot at winning. You know they're going to pull out all the stops in this one. They're not going to hold anything back, especially against their division rival. The Houston Texans are not a fan favorite against the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to steamroll over Houston this week.
Next up, we see the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Baltimore Ravens. The Steelers had an incredible game against the Cleveland Browns. It seems like everybody stepped up to try to get Big Ben Roethlisberger his final victory at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, and now he's taking on the Ravens one last time in Baltimore. This rivalry is being renewed for a final time until the entire new era is being shuffled in. I think the Ravens have what it takes to take down the Steelers. I think Big Ben Roethlisberger does not go out in victorious formation. I think he is going to end up with a loss to seal his fate and bring him into Canton, Ohio.
Next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Cleveland Browns. After watching that Monday Night Football game, Baker Mayfield looks like arguably the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life. His inability to throw the football just tells me everything I need to know in this matchup. Cincinnati, whether it's Joe Burrow or Brandon Allen, it doesn't matter. They're going to seal the victory. They don't need any other help besides their defense because they're going to be the ones outscoring the Browns offense. I'm taking the Bengals in this one.
Next up, we see the San Francisco 49ers take on the Los Angeles Rams. The 49ers are still fighting for that final spot in the playoffs. They are doing everything. They're going to have to fight tooth and nail. Every single claw is going to have to be shed on this one. And when it comes time, the Los Angeles Rams, well, they're fighting for their own playoff seeds. They're going to have to show that they have what it takes to continue to hold on to this division, to hold on to everything that they have fought for. So at the end of the day, the Los Angeles Rams have to fight. I'm actually taking the San Francisco 49ers in this game. I think that they are a better team. I think that holistically they can do a lot of the things that give the Rams a lot of issues, including running the ball. And I believe at the end of the day, San Francisco is going to have to rely on their running game if they want to get into the playoffs.
Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers in a very bad spot right now with Bruce Arians and Antonio Brown, this lack of weapons that Tom Brady has to work with. And although he got the job done against the New York Jets, it doesn't mean he can get the job done against this Carolina Panthers team. Divisional matchups always are a little bit weary, and this is one where I think it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think. They locked up the division, and their spot as the number 2 seed is pretty much locked up. Can they get this one? I'm going to take them by the skin of their teeth. At home, the Buccaneers are always the favorite. Tom Brady there, I'm going to put my faith in him. But I expect this one to be very, very close.
Next up, we see the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Seattle Seahawks look like they were finally playing Seattle Seahawk football again. It looked like they finally had a chance to show exactly who they are. Russell Wilson looked normal once again, which is shocking to say. But at this point, that has not been the case. So right now, I see the Arizona Cardinals as being the favorite, and I expect them to win. In fact, this is my lock of the week. The Arizona Cardinals are so much better than the Seattle Seahawks. They are still fighting for their positioning within the NFC playoff picture. They are still fighting within their division, and the Seattle Seahawks are coming to a brutal end to the season, and they're going to end up mailing it in. I think Russell Wilson's time in Seattle is done. I think Pete Carroll's time in Seattle is done, and this is kind of their swan song. The Arizona Cardinals will put this chapter for the Seattle Seahawks to rest.
Next up, we have the New England Patriots taking on the Miami Dolphins. This matchup always interesting because when the New England Patriots head to Miami, always seems like some miraculous thing happens and the Dolphins come out on top. Well, that was in the Tom Brady era, and under Mac Jones, things are a little bit different. They should have had that Week 1 victory over the Dolphins, but they didn't get that one. They're going to make sure they get this one. It's a big game coming off of a big victory over Jacksonville. Got to take a lot of momentum into the playoffs. Miami's already knocked out, not playing for anything. I'm going to take New England to get a nice victory over Miami in Week 18.
Next up, we see the New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The New Orleans Saints just want to see this season go goodbye. They don't want to see any more of this season right now. With Jameis Winston going down and all of the injuries they've had on the offensive side of the ball, no Michael Thomas all season long, Alvin Kamara basically shouldering the entire offense just to bring them along, and this defense doing everything in their power to score points because they know that they have to prevent them and put points on the scoreboard if they have any chance of winning. So I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to pose a lot of problems for the Saints team. I'm taking the Falcons in this one.
And for our final 425 matchup, we have the New York Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills. Very straightforward matchup here. The Buffalo Bills need to seal up the AFC East Championship, and who else would you rather do it against than the New York Jets, one of the easiest teams to face. Zach Wilson may have had some nice games as of late, but it's not going to be anything for the Buffalo Bills defense. They are rolling, they are on fire, and they want to be a big presence in the playoffs. They're going to continue their high power dominance right here against the New York Jets week 18. Taking the Bills in this matchup.
And finally, for our Sunday night football game, the final regular season game of this season, we see the Los Angeles Chargers take on the Las Vegas Raiders for a spot in the AFC playoffs. This is what it all comes down to. This is going to be an absolute bloodbath. It is going to be chippy from the start. Both teams are going to just go absolutely bananas toward each other. And at the end of the day, I believe that the Los Angeles Chargers will come out on top. The Los Angeles Chargers are just a better overall team. They have a better defense. They have a better offense. They're more consistent. The Las Vegas Raiders, they play down to their competition. They're very inconsistent with how they play. They've gone through a lot of turmoil this season. Now they have to come off of that high and get regathered for this Los Angeles Chargers team. I don't think they're going to be able to do just that, and I think the Chargers take advantage. The Chargers will win this game.
Yeah, this is a massive game, and yeah, the Raiders are coming off of a big win, but right after that win, they had yet another player who was caught driving while under the influence, and that is just another ding against this team. You're playing with heavy hearts for John Madden. You want to get a big win for your own pride, and you do that against a great team in the Indianapolis Colts, but then you go and ruin it again. I think this brings them right back down, makes it a lot harder for them to compete at a high level. They're a great team, but they're just not going to show up against Los Angeles, who knows them very well. I'm taking the Chargers in this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great games, a lot of playoff scenarios that have to be determined this week, and we're going to see where all these teams lie, especially with everything that's gone on this season. I'll be interested to hear from you guys, though. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of our predictions. If you think we got any right or wrong, let us know in the comments down below. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.